Hi, and welcome to Here with Laura. I'm your host, Laura Williams. I'm a designer, entrepreneur, and mom, and this is a space where real life and meaningful conversations meet. Today, I'm joined by an inspiring man who has directly impacted my family and so many members of my community. He is a pediatric speech therapy pathologist and entrepreneur with over 20 years of helping children reach their potential in Austin and the surrounding areas. Please welcome Marcus Neal, owner of Emily Therapy and Children's Therapy Spot.
Thanks,
Thank you
Laura.
for being here.
Thank you. It's an honor to be here, honestly. I get spam emails daily asking me to be on podcasts, and I'm like, click, delete. So,
Well, we have a relationship, so.
yeah, when you invited me, I was like, yes, finally a real one.
Aw, well, good. So I met Marcus when I brought my son, Jack, to Children's Therapy Spot after noticing he was just struggling with his speech. It was messing with his confidence, and honestly, he was starting to get a little bit angry because people weren't understanding him. And he was only 2, which as a mom is sad when your very sweet child is typically, happy, sunshine and flowers all the time. And then suddenly he's trying to speak and I'm the only one that understands him.
Yeah.
So when you're having to go to preschool, it's hard and scary to begin with. And then if nobody knows what you're saying and you feel like you're communicating at your best capability, I can understand how that can feel really frustrating.
Absolutely. Their ideas are there,
Mm-hmm.
and they come out. And when other people don't respond to you, we don't really recognize it. But even at an early age, 1, 2 years old, kids understand when they're not understood.
Yeah.
And just the small little subtle reactions that people have towards them, they process them. And we finish every single evaluation report with the phrase that without treatment, this could lead to social emotional issues where the child will revert away from communication and not want to talk to people. And that doesn't go away. It lives with people throughout their lives. And eventually they're in college and they don't want to speak in public, or they choose careers that don't involve communicating with people directly. So these little things don't just disappear. And that's kind of, one of our main purposes in what we do is we want to make that impact early so that they can have a fruitful life and build really strong relationships. But it's very noticeable.
Yeah, it is. And I feel like a lot of times it's kind of put onto the checklist of that's just their personality.
Yeah.
They're just shy. But really, they don't want to speak potentially because people don't understand them anyway.
Yeah. And they're smart. So they know when they're not going to be successful, and none of us want to be put in those situations.
No.
Right. So that's kind of where it all begins with us is once there's some social emotional stuff going on that the parents start to realize, then it's no longer this cute little lisp or they sound like they're from Boston. It's not cute anymore when you start to see it affect their peer relationships. And that's usually the catalyst for them to explore speech therapy. And we also do occupational and physical therapy too. So those are, oftentimes a little more observable.
Mm-hmm.
But doctors are typically going to see when your kid's not talking, and then they'll tell you, hey, you should go get this checked out.
Yeah.
But catching it early like you did is really beneficial because we can make some big changes early on in a kid's life.
So tell me about how Emily Therapy began. I know that was your first office, then you opened the Children's Therapy Spot.
Yeah.
I'd love to hear a little bit about that journey, what you guys offer, and kind of go from there.
Yeah, so Emily, it's kind of funny because it's actually named after my old boss, Martha Lee.
Oh.
And she's the one who opened it. And she was my first mentor and coach. And she kind of taught me all the technical skills that I know today in terms of how to do speech therapy.
Mm-hmm.
And she retired and sold me the practice. And I was only 3 years out of grad school.
Wow.
So my first reaction to her was like, hey, can I at least try to run this thing before I buy it? She said, no, I'm selling it.
Okay.
You either take it or leave it. And she gave me the family deal. So it was honestly...
well, that's a testament to what she saw in you and your capabilities and what your future would hold because...
prior to, coming back as a speech therapist, I was an assistant for her for 2 years. And I think that's kind of where the foundation was laid is, she saw how hardworking I was and just kind of the connection I had with children. I'm the oldest of 6, so like this thing came natural to play with kids.
Yeah.
And the responsibility that I showed. So there was a foundation there. But when she decided to retire, she's like, hey, I'm selling this thing. You either take it or leave it. So like probably many
All
of the
right,
stories.
Martha.
Yeah. Any of the stories that you're going to hear on this podcast, like it starts with the decision to just jump off the building.
Mm-hmm.
And I remember at UT, my keynote speaker, he said, all successful people, they all climb to the top of the building, and only the true entrepreneurs are the ones that are going to jump off and learn how to fly on the way down.
Ooh, you gave me chills on that.
So a lot of people will stay up there, right? Like you got to the top, but only
It's scary.
It is very scary, yeah.
There's a lot of risk, and something that we always say is if it wasn't scary or hard, everybody would do it.
Yeah, absolutely. Yeah. So I jumped off the building and I bought the clinic from her and started putting my own twists to it and really started to hone in on kind of what our core values were and what I wanted this thing to be. And that story all starts kind of with my own family history and my brother and things like that. So I started to craft this vision of what Emily could be. And it grew really quickly. And during the pandemic, the demand for therapy services just went through the roof.
Yeah.
And there was a point in my career where I wanted everything to be perfect before I expanded. And the demand was just so great that I had to take another leap. And so I opened the children's therapy spot in 4 Points. Mm-hmm. And that grew. And then just opportunities started to come around, and I opened a third clinic in Georgetown, and all this stuff is probably way too fast because we'll talk about stress and balance, I'm sure, but it's just these risks that I think are inherent with true entrepreneurship, and that you start to figure these things out on the fly, honestly, because we're not really, speech therapists aren't trained to do all this stuff. They're running a business.
Neither are designers.
Numbers, yeah. So all these things are truly risks. And, I'm pretty spiritual. So I just pray every day that the risks are taking me in the right direction. But that's kind of where it all started. It was a gift to me from my mentor, my boss, Martha, which I'll forever be in debt to. And, just kind of doing the right things and having a really good core value system has helped us do the right thing and grow. I always say, like, if you take care of the families and the kids first, everything else will kind of fall in line.
Well, and that's what I appreciate so much. Even as a parent walking into the places, you could tell that you actually care about these children. You're not just trying to get a paycheck. Right. You're going in there and every single day doing your best to make sure that either you or somebody on your team is positively impacting these kids.
Yeah.
And it's in your whole, you walk in and you feel it. You look around, it feels like sunshine in there. It does.
It's the energy and the love, right? I'm big on energy. And
you have such an amazing team.
They're great.
Love Chelsea.
They're great, yeah.
Oh my gosh.
She just had her baby and she's enjoying motherhood right now.
Yeah. But she was texting me the other day. She sent me a picture of him.
It all starts with love and that positive energy that goes into every session, how you craft the space, how you take care of the games, right? Like we've got games that you can't buy anymore. And like you have to love that game because it's going to help a lot of kids.
Yeah.
And it's understandable, like when you're running a small business, that sometimes the finances and the logistics of everything kind of are at the forefront of your mind, but you kind of have to push that back because it starts to trickle into your behaviors and how you treat the parents and how you treat the kids and the therapists, and starts to create an environment that's not full of love.
Yeah.
So
I get that. And it's hard though, because it impacts your family if it's not successful.
Absolutely.
So it's hard to take that, I don't want to say selfishness, but the truth of it is you're on the line there.
Yeah, absolutely.
And your wife and your daughter. So it's scary.
Absolutely. Yeah, very, very scary. And now with 3 clinics, the numbers are multiplied. So add zeros to everything, and all of a sudden your $10,000 budget is now $100,000. And these big swings start to make life a little bit scarier. But honestly, if you just kind of like understand that is a major part of it, but it's not the reason why we got into it, then that helps you behave in a way that is true to what we were meant to do, and that's to help families and kids. And if I were behaving in a way that was just completely about the finances, it would trickle down to the therapist, and that would trickle down to their therapy, and that would trickle down to the parents. And that would create a situation that's not loving.
Yeah.
And you would feel that too.
Yeah,
So,
absolutely. So tell me about the different disciplinaries that you all offer. You mentioned occupational. What does that mean?
yeah.
And what are some things to look out for to know potentially if your child
So,
maybe would need to seek
yeah,
a
the crazy
professional?
thing is like when I talked about that spike in demand during COVID,
Mhm.
the spike really happened in occupational therapy. I spent nearly 12 years trying to help people understand what OT was because
Yeah.
it's like, what is occupational therapy? And now everybody wants it. And so at the core, everybody's occupation is unique. For children, their occupation is to learn. And depending on their age, they can be learning through play. They can be learning at a desk in a classroom. They can be learning, through social situations.
Mhm.
And so our OT's job is to help them be able to navigate those situations, the context of where they're learning successfully.
Mhm.
So for a 2-year-old, their job is to learn through play. And so if they're not playing successfully, then an OT can come in and help them figure out, are you not understanding the motor plans that go into this game? Are you not understanding where your body is in space to help
Yeah.
navigate this social situation? And so now OT is kind of like one of those deals where like everybody can benefit from it.
Mhm.
But really at its core, it's the ability to do your occupation, which for children, it's to learn and then do it successfully in any environment.
Okay.
Physical therapy, our clientele for physical therapy really is little babies. We've got some school-age children who they want to be able to navigate through the playground a little bit better, run without tripping, sometimes tightness in their legs, things like that. But those are kind of one-offs. But our really big population is little babies who have stiffness in their neck, or it's called torticollis. And that tiny little thing is going to impact a lot of developmental milestones. And
And your
so,
doctor would recommend.
absolutely, yeah, when they see that,
Yeah.
in fact, my daughter, she was kind of tight in her neck. And right away, I was like, boom, OT.
Yeah.
Let's get them into OT and PT. And it took like 2 weeks of just tiny little stretches for her to figure it out. And then she was done because we
Okay.
caught it really early.
Mhm.
But this little stiffness in their neck causes them to look one side, and they're missing the entire auditory field, and they're not crawling the way they're supposed to. And all those
Sure.
things kind of
They
build on
add
top of
up.
each other. So that's kind of where our physical therapists shine in our practice. And obviously, speech therapy is kind of where we all started. We do a form of therapy called prompt therapy, which your son got, which is a little different than traditional kind of approaches at therapy. We see speech from a motor perspective. How are the muscles moving? What's breaking down? We kind of hit the core root of why those muscles aren't moving together so they can create intelligible speech. And what I found is that had my little brother had this kind of therapy, he would have been a very different person now.
Yeah.
And so I kind of attached onto it, loved it, started teaching it across the country. All of our speech therapists get it. Like we have by far the most certified prompt therapists in the entire state. And so like the therapy is very high quality and it's efficient. You won't have to spend years and years in therapy. Like, some traditional artic therapies, like they never end. And I'm
Yeah.
like, no, like let's get this R done in 6 months, call it a day.
Yeah,
So
absolutely.
that's kind of just a rough explanation of the three disciplines that we have. And then obviously the cool thing about ours is that they're all working under the same roof. They're all working together. And so I just kind of started describing our clinic. Instead of being multidisciplinary, we're very integrative. So the OTs and PTs know exactly what we're doing and they embed that into their therapy and vice versa. I know what the OTs are doing. So I get to embed that into my therapy and creates a very integrative approach versus just saying collaboration where like I tell you what I did and you tell me what you did.
Yeah.
Like,
Well, and also I've noticed that the children play together, so they could be
yeah,
there for different types of therapy, but then they're in the same room playing a game together,
absolutely.
and
Yeah.
they learn from each other,
Yep.
which is really
Yeah.
interesting.
It's a funny story. So my little brother has Down syndrome.
Yes.
And I remember his therapeutic journey, potty training was the toughest thing. And I don't care how many professionals had the answer, like, this is what we're going to do. His little cousins, who were about 4 or 5 years younger than him, taught him how to potty train just by watching them. So like peer modeling is
Yeah.
critical. It's awesome to see them just kind of pick up what the other kids are doing. But that social emotional component that I discussed earlier, like when we put kids in positions to be successful in interactions with other kids, like that gives them a level of confidence that they were missing. And so for us, this peer social modeling type of deal is absolutely critical in therapy. Like you can't do it without it.
Yeah. That's amazing. So you mentioned your little brother a couple times now. So tell us how he kind of influenced your journey into speech therapy. I know that you went to school at UT for engineering
Yeah,
at first.
engineering for 3 years.
That's bizarre.
Well, it kind of goes back to like where I'm from in
I
El
can't even
Paso.
see you as an engineer.
Man, so every single summer from when I was maybe in 6th grade all the way through high school, I spent my summers at engineering camp at UTEP, the university out there in El Paso. And so I would just do math. And over
Yeah.
there, when you're good at math, you're either going to be a doctor or an engineer. Like
Yeah.
that, you don't have any other choices. So everybody was kind of like pushing me to be an engineer. And so I came out here with a bunch
And
of
that's a
my
very
friends.
successful
It's great. Yeah. Until you're in like
occupation.
physics and Cal 2 and you can't understand your professors.
Yeah, true.
So it's kind of ironic that a communication breakdown in that major is what kind of led me to become a speech pathologist. Because when me and my buddy were in, I think it was Calculus 2 or something, we couldn't understand the professor. So we just started learning Cal 2 from the book on our own.
That's wild.
And I was like, this can't be my life. I'm like, there's got to be more to it, right? And so I got out, and I mean, I looked at every single liberal arts major you could imagine, from philosophy to psychology, everything that was the opposite of math.
Mhm.
And like I said, it's ironic that communication breakdown led me to a communication disorders class, and then all of a sudden, my little brother's journey just flew through my mind. And I remember his ECI speech therapist. Her name is Francine. I remember his little graduation. She gave him this little clay putty. Like, all those memories started to just flash in front of my eyes. And I'm like, I think this was it.
Yeah.
Not to mention there was like 500 girls behind me. Like,
That helps.
don't mind if I do.
Yeah.
So that was that intro class. And then the second class is called phonetics. And it's basically the science of transcribing speech. And so it's kind of like math in that you take every sound that a person is saying and you kind of write it down in symbols. And like for an engineer, this thing was like, boom,
Yeah.
okay, this is cool.
Yeah.
And then the final nail, that closed the coffin was language in the brain. It was just a phenomenal course. The professor was great. And I'm like, okay, this is what I'm going to do. But you have to get a master's degree in it. So again, I've just transferred into this field. I'm like, okay, let me get this bachelor's degree, because I don't know if like for sure I want to be a speech therapist, because the alternative is a teacher, and I didn't want to be a teacher. Yeah. So I'm like, let me go get some experience. And that's where I met Martha. And I started working with her as an assistant for a couple of years. And being the oldest of the 6 kids, again, just getting along with kids and helping them and playing games with them was natural. And then the little technical side of my brain was like always at work in that role. So I was creating stuff for them that they had never seen before. And they were like, wow, who is this guy? Oh, not to mention there's no guys in the field.
Yeah.
4% maybe in the entire field. And the ones that are actually sitting on the floor treating kids, even fewer.
Yeah.
So they're like, oh, we got this guy. He's like great. And he works with kids and he's fun. And so they're like, let's just go. Then I went off to grad school and then came back, and Martha was like, hey, like, let me teach you how to do this thing. And one day when I'm ready to go, I'll sell you my practice. And I had no idea it was going to be in 3 years, but that's kind of how it all came to fruition. Sure enough, she retired and sold it to me.
That's incredible. You mentioned to me before also that your mom is an incredibly hard worker, and that really kind of impacted you in your work ethic, your drive. Tell me a little bit about her and why you are the way you are.
So she worked 3 jobs to make ends meet, and 2 things happened with that. First, I saw her working hard all the time, and that was the model. The second was she had to leave me in charge all the time. So I was responsible, and I had to like figure things out at an early age in order to make sure that, well, actually one time my sister did fall off the couch and break her arm, but to avoid things like that, I had to like really have my head on straight. And so she kind of taught me through her example and through putting me in tough situations how to work hard and be responsible at a really early age. And so, I'm very thankful for that. But at the same time, like, it also made a situation where my brother couldn't really get the types of therapy that we're offering right now. Mm-hmm. And so that kind of always stuck in my heart as well, as like, if he's the purpose for what I'm doing, which he truly is. If you've ever met a kid with Down syndrome, they're like absolute blessings in your life. And he has been a blessing in mine. So if he's my purpose, then I've got to help kids that were in his situation. And so I've always in the back of my mind and in my heart wanted to provide this high-level therapy to kids who couldn't really access it normally. And he's kind of like the driving force for that. So my mom's always working. He's getting the school therapy or whatever he could because we really couldn't afford to go out and get it privately.
Yeah.
And I'm there trying to basically raise him a little bit, you know?
Mm-hmm.
So kind of it set the foundation for what I am today. And like I said before we started, my sisters are like always like, oh, here comes Marcus.
Yeah.
It's just because I've always been that type of father figure, the more responsible one out of everybody. I'm like, this is what you guys need to do.
Well, you had to be.
Yeah.
You know, you were put in a situation where someone's got to do it, and your mom relied on you.
Absolutely, yeah.
You know? And she chose right, obviously. Like, you obviously did a good job,
Yeah. But and I have like, you know, I do a lot of reading, and one of my favorite books is The Black Mamba by Kobe Bryant.
Uh-huh.
And Kobe talked about his work ethic and how other players were out there partying, and when they were getting back from their partying, he was going to the gym.
Yeah.
And one of the things that really stuck with me is he said, if you want to be successful and great in anything that you're doing, you're going to have to sacrifice, right?
Mm-hmm.
And when you have all the money in the world, like, what's your sacrifice really? It's not financial, it's time. Yeah. And for him, he's like, if I had to sacrifice time, I didn't want to sacrifice the time for my family. So I woke up at 4 o'clock in the morning to get all my work done so that I had that time with my family. And that stuck with me. And so now, like, when people talk about like how hard of a worker is, like, I pride myself on running circles around people.
Yeah.
And I do it early in the morning.
I do the same thing. I'm up at 5 so I can get my me time in, my workout, read all my emails before anybody wakes up or needs me. Before I have to wake up kids for school, get them ready for school, because I want to pick them up from school. I want to be done with my work day as much as I can.
Right.
Bring them to their after-school activities. You know, it's important.
My daughter, she's 3, so she really needs me when I get home. Mm-hmm. And even though I'm exhausted, I still now have time to give her. Yeah. And that's only possible if I'm doing that work early in the morning, you know?
That has to be hard to expend so much patience all day for other children and then come home and have to have the patience that a parent requires.
So it's crazy. We have a mutual SLP friend, right? Mm-hmm. And I have a lot of SLPs who bring their kids to us. No, like most people do, why don't you do it yourself? You're a speech therapist, right? Like, no. The level of patience that it takes to work on your own child is insanely more significant than what it is to work on somebody else's child. Like, I could work with your kids 8-10 hours a day, no problem. But like 1 hour a day with my little brother, I was ready to pull my hair out. Yeah. So there's different tanks of patience.
Yeah, that makes sense.
So the tank that we use to work with other people's kids, it's pretty exhausting. I always say, like, that mental work is the equivalent of hard labor. And so you're just kind of always on, you're always thinking, you're always giving of yourself. And that takes a lot out of a person. Mm-hmm. So physically, you're tired from doing all that mental work when you get home. Yeah. But I've always wanted a child. Mm-hmm. Always. And I've worked with so many kids throughout my career that, like, when I finally got one, I'm like, it's just replenishing when I get home. And it's funny because she's 3 and she has great language and great words. But whenever I get home, she's like, Dada. And I was like.
But the day that she says, hi, Dad, you're going to be like, no.
Yeah, no. Right. And the other day, I walk in after she had this big haircut situation thing. Yeah. And she's over here putting on her makeup. And I'm like, hey, where's my Dada? Yeah. Right. Like, it fills me up again. And when playing with her and working with her is a different tank of patience that I have. And it's really great to just be her dad and kind of know the stuff that I know as a speech therapist and kind of just lightly embedded in there, you know?
That's amazing. And it's nice that you're able to take that time and appreciate those moments as well. Yeah. I know, you know, as an entrepreneur, we have hard days. 2 days ago, I had a very hard day. I was just up to here with stress. Yeah. And I got home from work like 30 minutes before I had to go walk to pick up the kids from school. And I was like, I just need to walk. I need to get this out. I cried a little bit. And then that night, I swear my kids knew that I was normal with them, but I swear they knew that I just needed to be uplifted, and they just started like singing and dancing and performing for me. And I was in a great mood. The whole rest of the night, the next day, I felt refreshed because it's wild.
So one of the kind of key concepts that I talk about through all of our practices is dynamic systems theory. And this, again, is from the nerdy engineering mind.
Love it.
But so like at the core of it, all relationships, all families, all organizations, companies, they're all systems that are the sum of the individual parts, right?
Okay.
And so when one of the pieces is struggling and the others have the capability to support that and balance it out, then the system thrives. When you don't have those supports and one piece is struggling, that's when it breaks apart. So this idea of understanding the clinic, the families, the patients, the therapists, and then the money, all those things truly have to balance out. If you're focused too much on one, then the doors can't stay open. If you're focused on too much money, then the parents don't feel loved and the therapy's not good. If you're focused too much on the therapist, then the therapy goes, to the wayside. So this idea of balancing all the components of the system is exactly what you described. Like one hard day for a piece was supported by the other pieces of that system. And the more I can preach it, the more people understand it. Like it gives you space to like not react too quickly. And that's truly what the golden like ticket is like if you can have a moment and not respond to it too quickly, but process it and have a broader perspective, then then I think things just come out better and the outcomes are better. So I mean, I get that because, sometimes that little dada is just a little lift of energy that I need to kind of rebalance myself,
Yeah. No, that's amazing. So I want to talk to you a little bit about the cost of this therapy. I know you work with insurance companies and everything, but I'd like to know, because we've partnered with you, my company has, and we've done a benefit the last couple of years, Design for a Cause.
Truly amazing.
And we've raised almost $20,000 the last 2 years combined. This year, I don't know if I should say this out loud, but the goal is to make $20,000 this year alone.
Wow.
So we're really trying to pull out all the stops. I just found out that Four Hands is going to sponsor this. So they were
talking about it last year, right?
Yeah, they just told us yesterday for sure that they're going to be sponsoring at a higher level.
That's
and
amazing.
So we're talking multiple donations, more than 2x what they did last year.
Wow.
So that's going to be an
blessing,
amazing partnership. And it really shows that they appreciate the business that we bring them, but they appreciate the cause of what we're doing. So I want to talk to you about the cost of this therapy if insurance is not covering it, and how you make the money that we're raising in this fundraiser for you go so far. Because I know last year with the 12,500, I mean, I think you said, how many families was it?
So I calculated by visits, right?
Yeah.
So some kids need more therapy. And so like if I calculate it by families, it doesn't give you a true indicator, but
that's true.
It's about 1,200 visits that we can support with that type of money.
It's insane.
So Design for a Cause, first of all, what a wonderful blessing it is to know you and for you to open up your heart and your time and your energy to share that with everybody. I do this by myself, right? And again, being the oldest, there's a lot of lonely time, right? Like a business owner, like, man, like just everything just feels so lonely sometimes. So when you guys help, it's a weird feeling because like I'm not used to like opening up myself for blessings.
Well,
I'm usually the one passing it out, right?
When I first reached out to you, do you remember our first phone call a couple of years ago? You're like, "Are you sure?"
Yeah.
What do you mean?
No, honestly,
and I was like, no, I just want to raise money and give it to you.
Yeah.
And you're like, what? I'm like, I just really like you guys. You're doing a really good job.
Yeah.
And
I was so skeptical because I was like, there's no way.
Yeah.
So I'll believe it when I see it was like my first idea. And then now we're like, whoa, this is actually happening. So just kind of like, without getting too deep into the weeds of the finances, healthcare alone, right? So like just to be in healthcare, you're giving the providers about 50% of whatever reimbursement comes in. So like if you're a software business, your margins are like crazy big. So right off the bat, our margin shrinks significantly. To be able to do it in a clinic with the rents that keep going up every single year makes that margin even smaller. So it's really expensive to do this just in general.
Mm-hmm.
Insurance companies have not given us a raise in 20 years. And I tried to get one from one insurance company that said, oh, no, we did. We gave you a raise in 2019, 5 cents.
Oh, great.
I'm like, you got to be kidding me. Like, you actually typed that out. And so those reimbursement rates, they don't move. And so now you just are dealing with these shrinking margins year in and year out. So you got to get creative on how to do this while at the same time trying to stick to this purpose of helping as many kids get this high quality therapy that you can.
Mm-hmm.
So I've always given therapy to kids, and it's come straight out of our pockets, straight out of the profit margin. And I do it because I want to give those kids, like my brothers, something that they're not going to be able to get. And when you came in and you said, I want to help, I'm like, whoa.
Who is this crazy lady?
I said, whoa. So again, I was very skeptical, and I'm like, look, no, I got this. This is part of who I am, right?
Yeah.
I give because it's part of Marcus Neal and my family and my history. And so when you guys came in and started raising money, I couldn't just be like, hey, there's that money, let's use it for therapy. I cut the costs by 50%. Like, I take 50, you guys give 50. And so for every single dollar that you guys are donating, you're doubling that in essence, because we're contributing to that session as well. And so instead of just saying, hey, for $100, you can have a session, no, the money you donate is $50 for that session. I put 50. So now we can double that and make it go further. So that's really why we're getting 1,200 visits, is because we're both doing this. And I feel like it's a true partnership in that, sure, I could say 600 visits, but I could also put my part in and make it 12.
Yeah.
And so that's kind of the way that I do it. And really the need, who gets it, is subjective, quite honestly, because if I said, hey, we got this money, I promise you everybody would raise their hand, because just the cost alone of getting therapy is outrageous.
Well, and that's what triggered it, is our insurance wasn't covering anymore. And so we were coming out of pocket, and I was seeing these bills come in. And luckily we are in a place where we were like, it's fine, we'll just pay it. We can handle this expense. But how many people do you know that truly need it and cannot afford it?
Right.
And so I saw it as a chance to, I'm always looking for ways to kind of give to people that, I don't know, feels greedy to just, I'm building this business, I'm making this money, blah, blah. But I want my children to learn how important it is to give to others that aren't able to achieve the things that you are able to achieve and have the money that you need, or they're working 5 jobs just to make ends meet, you know?
I mean, that's why I've always given a part of it myself, right?
Mm-hmm.
And it felt a little selfish if I just took your money and said, hey, look, these therapy sessions are going to get paid by Design for a Cause. No, like, let's split it up and do it together.
That's amazing that
so
you
that,
do that.
We're true partners, and I still feel like I'm doing part of like what I need to do. But we opened this 3rd clinic in Georgetown, and the reality of the financial burden of therapy is so significant there. And it's a different population. You got typically 2 parents that are having to work. And so things are over there are really like shining a light on this problem.
Mm-hmm.
And so everything that we've done with you and that you've put into Design for a Cause, I'm like, now it's more important than ever, because we really have kids that, like, most of the time for the money that you guys have given us is for kids whose insurance benefits run out, right? So like, you get 30 visits, they ran out, now you got to pay private pay. Well, we can help you. Over there in Georgetown, we can't afford therapy at all. So we're having to help a lot more kids in that situation. And it's not like this is a help to that family. Like, this is all they have. And so that's, for me now, I'm like, okay, this is more important than ever, that we really put our part into what you're doing so that we can help those families out in Georgetown. Steiner Ranch, we've got some kids in there the main issue really is that insurance benefits, like, if you call your insurance company, they're going to tell you, oh yeah, sure, speech therapy's covered. But they don't tell you
how
the
much
details.
Yeah.
Right? They don't say they're only going to cover you if XYZ is met and for only 20 visits. Well, most of the time, this stuff lasts more than 20 visits.
I know.
So we're like, okay, yeah, true, you have speech therapy benefits, but are they going to pay for anything is a different question. Deductibles sometimes get upwards of $5,000. If all you're doing is speech therapy, you're not going to meet that deductible. So you're in essence paying out of pocket the whole time. And the insurance company never kicks in their portion.
Yeah.
And so like the actual financial reality of it is not something that most parents like come into the therapy sessions understanding. So we do a really good job now of just saying, hey, look, here's your policy benefits. Here's what you can expect to pay. Can we do this or can we not?
Yeah.
Right. And if they
And
can't.
it's nice that you go the extra mile because insurance is just confusing in general.
Yeah.
It's so confusing. And you guys are having to live in the weeds of it all the time. And I know I had multiple conversations with you when we switched policies. And then I was like, well, what is covered here? I don't,
Yeah.
and you took hours yourself just for my child to figure out what our insurance covered.
Yeah. Well,
Which,
when you have options and like they just give you these 3 plans, most of the times parents are just picking the one that costs the least, right?
yeah.
I'm like, okay, but if you paid just a little bit extra, all your therapy would be covered.
Mm-hmm.
You pick that cheaper plan, then they're only going to cover this amount, which leaves you out of pocket, and it's going to cost more money in the long run. So I sit down again with the engineering brain, right?
Yeah.
And I'm like, all right, let's do the math here. I met a dad the other day who was like on par with all that. He's like, okay, what about HSA benefits and tax implications? I'm like, too much, right? He's like, you figure that out.
Yeah. That's
like,
so funny.
But you just do the math and you can figure out which plans work better.
Yeah.
Because then the rep is not going to tell you. They're just going to say, yeah, speech therapy is covered. They won't tell you how much of it. And so I think now doing a little more homework in the up front helps parents make a more informed decision. And we're not, so in the past when I had to pay for therapy, it was usually because parents racked up a big bill and couldn't pay it.
Right.
Right. And so I'm like, don't worry about it. I'll take care of that. And now we're able to provide therapy where we have the information up front and we're saying, hey, we know that this is not affordable. We can help you. And it's people like you and what you're doing, like you make that possible. And so I'm forever indebted to you and Martha and everybody that has kind of.
You don't need to add me to the list with Martha. That's crazy town.
Yeah, no. But I mean, I wouldn't be able to completely do what I want to do without your help,
Well, it takes a village to do anything well. And you actually gave me a little, I love this. I wrote it down, so bear with me here for a second. You said a mantra.
Okay.
The difference between good, great, and excellence can only be found in the details.
Yeah.
I love that so much because I feel like that embodies so much of what I do in every facet of my life, but I'd love to know what that means to you.
Well, so I kind of came up with that. I hadn't read that anywhere.
Okay.
But I remember one time I'm getting ready for a little Halloween party in therapy. And it's early on in my career, so I just kind of throw some stuff on the table. And Martha comes in, she says, you could organize that a little bit better. Just pay attention to the details. And yeah. And so I'm like, you're right. Like it would just cost me a little bit more time if I just organized it and made it look prettier for the kids. And the impact was going to be bigger because they're going to be like, wow, this is amazing.
More excited. Yeah.
They're going to learn more from it. They're going to take from it a little bit more. So in that little moment, she really taught me, like, if you just pay attention to the details, like, you're going to do a better job than if you hadn't. And most of the times that costs time, right? So you're like, all right, well, sacrifice the time. Let's pay attention to the details. Because when you do, then that takes your whatever you've done to a different level. And I tell that to our therapists. I tell it to our directors. Most of the times I tell them the money is in the details. But really, it's like when you add all those little moments up, it takes a person from being good to great, great to excellent. If it becomes a habit and part of who you are, you're always kind of paying attention to whatever the other person is not paying attention to, then you're going to be great at what you do. And the truth is 90% of people are going to do the bare minimum.
Yeah.
And so if you just take it a little bit further, you can be great. And if you take it a bit further than that, you can be excellent.
Well, and it's funny because I actually talk to my sister about this all the time, is there's a lot of people that can do what you do. But if you're going to work extra hard to do the extra thing, it's going to make a difference.
Absolutely.
Yeah.
And I have this, one of my best friends, and it's not PG, so I won't say the story, but I'll kind of paraphrase it in a way that is PG. He says, for every worker, for every 100 workers, you have one worker that runs circles around them, right? That's the hard worker.
Mm-hmm.
For every 100 hard workers, you got one person that's running circles around them. And for every, and he has a bad name for that guy. You know, in male culture dominated businesses, that's the MFer, right? Like, he runs circles around everybody. For every 100 of those, you got one guy, and this is a made up word, so I'll say it. You got one guy that's the motivator. Okay. The motivator represents the 1% of people in the field that is willing to work harder than everybody else.
Mm-hmm.
And so I've always prided myself on being the motivator.
Yeah.
I'm like, I'm not the average worker. I'm not the hard worker. I'm not the MFer. I'm the guy that's.
And we need all those people out there too, because they're all still helping us to be that person.
Right. Yeah.
Yeah. I'm not saying I'm one of those. I don't know. But you know what I mean?
Well, that's when I talk about details, I'm like, okay, well, which one are you going to be? Yeah. Are you going to be the average worker? Are you going to be the hard worker? Are you going to be the great worker? Or are you going to be the guy at the top? Mm-hmm. And so, for me, I'm like, that's really what separates everybody is who's willing to pay attention to the details at a level that nobody else is willing to do. And like our therapy, the quality of that therapy, we pay attention to it.
Yeah.
We're always watching it. We're always making sure it's high level. And when it's not, we're in there coaching, mentoring, giving people support all the time. Mm-hmm. And it's rare to find in most clinics, honestly. Yeah. Because again, people are kind of focused on other stuff. But when you make sure that the detail in everybody's therapy is always paid attention to, that's when the craft gets really good. And so that's kind of my thing is
I love that.
Difference between great and excellent is whoever pays attention to the details more.
Yeah. Your staff is incredible. Every single person I've met at least the 4 Points location is amazing. Anybody that's come to my events, I love them as well. How do you find such amazing therapists? Is it scary for you to bring somebody on to your team because this is your baby? Yeah. This is what you're building, and you are so passionate about all three of your therapy centers. Yeah. I mean, what is...
The reality is that you can bring anybody in, as long as they have a good heart and love what they do, you can bring anybody in and teach them the craft. Mm-hmm. So that really, when we're interviewing people, I'm like, not focused on the craft. I'm going to teach you everything you need to know as a therapist anyway, but I can't teach you hard work. I can't teach you love. I can't teach you perspective. Like, you either have those things or you don't. So when I interview people and I add them on my team, I make sure that those are going to be the people that have the same core values as I do. Hard work, compassion, excellence, right? Like, if you can do that, then I can teach you all the craft. And the people who have worked for me for a long, long time.
Yes.
And the directors, I pride myself on always promoting from within. Mm-hmm. So they've been with me for 10 plus years, and they know how I navigate, and they know the decisions I make. They know where my heart is.
You guys are a family too. Yeah. It's another family. It's your work family.
Yeah, you spend more time with that work family than your own family sometimes, right? Mm-hmm. So and they know me to the core, and sometimes they'll ask me questions. I'm like, you know how I would answer that question. Oh yeah, I just want to check in with you. I'm like, next time, go ahead and make that decision.
Love that.
So give them some autonomy to start
feeling
their own space. Mm-hmm. Yeah, but the foundation I've already given to them by example, and so they kind of know who we are and what's important to us. And with that foundation, you can make great decisions. And so, I love all the people that work for us. When we add new people, if we've done the interview process correct, they fit right in and they become part of the family. And it's our job to coach them. Mm-hmm. And so we've got to build up your skill set while you're meshing with this family culture and remembering what's important to us, right? It's the kids, the families, and then all that extra stuff. Yeah. If you can pay attention to that, then you'll be successful.
I love that. That's amazing. And
interviews are a crapshoot, though.
They are.
They'll tell you everything you want. We just revamped them, and we're like, my buddy's a superintendent out in Dallas ISD, and he's like, no, you got to ask them questions that are going to hit to the core of who they are. So if you don't know your core values, better prep for our interview.
Yeah.
and for younger people, like, they haven't really gone to that experience in life yet where they have to figure out what's important to them. So I always tell them, the practice of pretending you're at your own funeral and you get to select 3 people to write a eulogy for you. Have you ever heard of that?
No. Tell me.
I think Stephen Covey or one of those productivity books.
Okay.
he says to figure out what your core values are, pretend you're at your own funeral and you get a coworker, a friend, and a family member to say a eulogy for you. What do they say? Right. So, my coworker is going to say he was the hardest working person I know. He was compassionate. He gave everything that he could. He was always loving. Those are your core values.
Yeah.
So if you need help identifying those core values, you just put yourself in that situation. And what do you want people to say about you when your time is up? And that's where you start honing in on what's important to you. And so those core values align with our core values, love, compassion, and perspective. Then we have a good mix, and I can teach you the skill.
That's amazing. I love it. That's really cool, and I'm going to steal it.
Yeah. I think it's Stephen Covey. Or Maxwell, one of those guys that...
We'll look it up and put it in the show notes.
Yeah. 7 Habits of Highly Effective People maybe is the book.
Okay. Yes. I know my husband has read that, actually.
Yeah.
He loves to... it's funny because I don't read the books where it's going to help. I like to read. If I'm going to read something, it's going to be like a romance or something.
Yeah.
And
I'm the opposite.
he gives me the high level notes of anything that's interesting that he reads. So I love it because I can kind of feed off of his interest.
AI and ChatGPT, you're like, hey, give me a brief summary of 7 Habits of Highly Effective People.
That's true.
Pop it right out.
Good old robots.
Yeah, I know.
They're always helping us out.
Yeah.
So back to Design for a Cause a little bit. So this year we're doing it on November 14th. We have the tickets out for sale already. I'm very excited. We'll have live music. We're going to have an open bar. We'll have amazing auction items. We're going to have a lot of games this year.
Cool.
It's
that cornhole game last year was a hit, huh?
Oh my goodness. And my friend actually won the gift card, and they just went last week, finally.
Oh my gosh. I hope they had the bacon mac and cheese.
I'm sure they did. Yeah. They said it was amazing. It was very funny, though. I was happy that they won because it's nice to have, although I was asking for them to bring me and they didn't, but it was their anniversary.
Shout out to Vince Young Steakhouse. They have the best bone-in ribeye in town.
Yes.
Oh my gosh.
But they've donated the last 2 years, which is amazing.
Yeah,
and we've had so many small business owners donate as well. Nutritionalists. I know that, Nuvitru, who actually she came onto the podcast, Dr. Lahana. She donates every year to do a gut test. And so you're coming in and you're not only getting, an opportunity to bid on your gift cards, your this, your that, but also experiences for your health. There are, personal trainers who give.
Yeah, well, the people that you meet at the event is amazing, right? Like there's people from all walks of life, and and honestly feels like a networking opportunity where you're like, whoa, you're a dentist and let me put you two together. Right?
Yes.
So,
and a lot of people will come who are interested in your services and don't really know how or when to take the leap. And I know that after you give your speech, that always brings everybody to tears. It's bound to happen every year. That's when people say, oh, I need to go talk to Marcus because I think this is something, so I'm hoping that by listening to this podcast that, maybe some other parents who might in the back of their mind think it might be the time to take my daughter or my son to be evaluated.
I tell parents this all the time because you take your 2-year-old in and do they need therapy? Yeah, so they're on the fence. I tell moms and dads all the time, go with your gut. Like there's no wrong or harm that can happen to you if you put your kid in therapy. Yeah. So like at the worst case, they didn't need therapy and you just gave them a little bump, but we'll figure it out really fast if they needed it or not. Versus waiting and letting all these things kind of calcify, if you will. So, behaviors, not just like behavior in the traditional sense, but like even speech is a behavior. It's like all these things that they're going through, they tend to get reinforced in a way that makes those things harder to break down and repair. Yeah. So like if you wait too long, it takes longer to fix it. Mm-hmm. So, getting them in early.
New habits and
getting them in early is like great because we don't have too many bad habits that we have to break or calcified behaviors, so we can do a significant amount of change in a younger system if they get in early. Yeah. And I just say, go with your gut, right? Like if you feel like something is off, then listen to that gut because you're probably going to see that just a little bit of help can help that.
Well, and with Jack, he just was not producing words like I thought he should. And his older sister was always such an eloquent speaker from age 2. I mean, she was speaking in perfectly complete sentences, even like saying Lee at the end of, oh, she did that so quickly.
Yeah.
You know, she would say Lee, and I'm like, man, my parent game is like,
Yeah.
I'm killing it.
My daughter hit me with a mysteriously yesterday. She's like, it mysteriously went away. I'm like,
you're like, that's the cutest thing you've ever said. But I noticed, and so I have a friend who's an SLP, who was a stay-at-home mom at the time, and now she's back working. But I went to her and I said, hey, do you think Jack needs speech therapy? And she goes, I would get him evaluated. I would just do it. And I said, okay, done. But I think for a lot of parents, it's hard for them to either seek someone they trust. I'm lucky that one of my best friends is somebody who is knowledgeable. But I think coming to a professional feels like a really large leap, especially if you're in elementary school. I mean, I had my son evaluated when he started kindergarten, and they said it's not severe enough, because this was before he had graduated. It's not severe enough to take him out of his class where he's learning to read, he's learning math, and bring him in. So it has to be at a certain level. And if you're trusting
academics.
Yes. Yeah. But it does at the root of it. If he's not saying his letters properly as he's sounding out words, he's going to be confused and he's not going to know how to actually read the right way.
I've got a little girl right now who's kind of preparing for a graduation. And I was like, hey, so here's what's going to happen, right? Just like Joshua's graduation, you're going to get a gift. Yeah. I'm going to put you up on the stage and you're going to say a speech. And she's like, no, I'm not going to say a speech. I'm like, why not? She's like, I don't speak in front of people. And
you're like, yes, you do.
you can though.
Yeah.
Right? Like you can do it now. And so that's part of the therapy process. If you don't pay attention to that confidence and trust, then your job isn't done. And so for her, like we've got to get her confident to be able to speak in front of people. Because like I said earlier, like that goes a long way in life. Yeah. And it's kind of like the Grand Canyon where these things, they don't just disappear in your life. They form who you become as an adult. And so, we may think that the kids aren't seeing it, but they see all the reactions. They see when people don't understand them. They definitely see the frustration in themselves when they can't be understood and they have all these great ideas. So like we just have to kind of pay attention.
They're excited to share, and then maybe they lose that excitement.
Yeah,
which
that's
is
the worst part.
So sad.
That's ultimately what we want to avoid at all costs. Is we want them to form fruitful relationships, find friends, be good classmates, those types of things. And when you can't express yourself and your ideas effectively, it affects that ability to create those relationships. And so ultimately, like our job is to create a child that can go out there and make friends and succeed in school. And so you got to pay attention to the trust and confidence piece at the end of it all. Like, so what? They found their R. They're still not confident. Like, we got to work on that a little bit.
It's important.
Yeah.
Speaking of the confidence, I don't think I told you the story. Did I tell you about that my son is now a stand-up comedian?
No.
Okay. So,
first of all, I totally can see it. Right? I totally can see it because he always had a little twinkle in his eye. Like I'm like, there's something in there that I didn't know it was a joke, but it probably was.
It was definitely. So it's spring break. We go to an all-inclusive resort, and there's a huge stage, full auditorium. It's open mic night. You can do anything you want. My daughter goes up, she sings. This is in front of hundreds of people, okay? They say, Jack Williams. He walks up onto the stage, and he's just standing there. And my husband and I are like holding hands. Yeah. I'm like, what is he going to do? And we're like, go ahead, buddy. And he goes, why does the chicken cross the road? And the whole audience shouts, why? And he goes, because he wanted to get to Chick-fil-A. And he tells, I'm not kidding, 10 knock-knock jokes.
Oh my.
10 knock-knock jokes in a row. He's up there for probably 5 minutes because he waits for the applause to die down. Pauses, thinks to himself, but I'm sobbing. My husband is crying. We're just like...
He's like, ignore the Grammy music. I'm on a roll.
Yes, it was the most incredible moment. And Chase and I, after that moment, looked at each other and were like, that is why we did it. That's why we did what we did. That moment right there.
I've had conversations with Chase, and he told me about his journey and all of this, and And you can see the emotion in him when he talks about what he went through and how he didn't want his son to go through that.
Mm-hmm.
And that's the same way I feel about my little brother. I'm like, all these little kids are like my little brother, right? Where I'm like, I don't want to see you have to struggle down the road. So let's fix it now.
Yeah.
And then you get these moments and you're like, man, I always kid because the moments that we talk about mostly when we get kids finally talking is parents are like, how do you get them to stop?
Yeah.
I'm like,
It's like, sorry.
We spend all this time getting them to talk and they're like, wait, how do you get them to stop, please?
Yeah.
Or like one of the first words is no. And they're like, take that one back.
Yeah. Right.
And I kid with my daughter all the time. I'm like, hey, I'm going to take some of those words back, Missy, because that's not what we're supposed to be saying.
I know, it's so funny. I actually, when my daughter was little, we never used the word no around her.
Yeah.
We'd say, let's do this instead. We probably shouldn't be making that choice. Let's do this instead. And so, but then by the time she was 2.5, we were saying no.
Yeah.
And when Jack came along, he said no all the time. We're like, well, we couldn't avoid it this time.
No is a powerful word if you don't have speech, right? And so, because they're going to be put in situations that they're not comfortable or they don't want. And if we can teach them no, instead of, can we do it a different way?
Yeah.
No. It's a powerful word.
It is.
And speech-wise, it mechanically is very powerful. So, me, I, no, those are all words that pop up at 2, 3 years old, and they correlate with the shift in identity. So now the kids are starting to understand the world on their own, and they want this autonomy, and they want to put their force into the world. And so no and me and I become big. And so giving a kid the word no for us is like, yay, big step.
Yeah.
But then mom's like, can you take that one back, please?
Please don't tell mommy no.
Yeah.
You just don't tell mommy. But I have to say, being a parent is so scary. You want your kids to grow up to be happy, strong, successful.
Yeah.
And to feel loved. And I feel like you've created a space. Oh gosh, I'm gonna cry. But you've created a space for all of these children to have the confidence to become these people and to facilitate what every parent wants for their child. So
yeah, and as a parent myself now, like I spent the majority of my career as a non-parent, right?
Yeah.
So a lot of what I said, I'm like, okay, technically this is what we need to do, but as a parent now, you have a little different perspective.
Yes.
Yeah. And you sit here with business owners and entrepreneurs, and like we all will agree, there's no book for us, right? Mm-hmm. But the truly hardest job is to parent. And when you think your decisions are the right ones, even if you've done all the research, like you never know.
No.
And so you just
read every parenting book out there, but your kid is unique and different, as they should be.
And I think part of that plays into the decision of should I get my kid therapy or not. Mm-hmm. It's a big decision, and you can do all the research in the world and still not know. Yeah. And so that's why I always tell parents, like, follow your gut, because no matter what, you're not going to have the right answer. Yeah. Like, did they need it or did they not? We don't know yet.
But guess what? It didn't hurt.
It didn't hurt.
That's what
I followed your intuition.
Yeah.
And odds are when you do that, you're going to be right. And so for us, like, an evaluation, it's just a small little snippet of time. And so like we get a brief picture of a kid, you live with them, like you see them day in and day out. And so if your intuition is saying, I think this might be a thing, then it probably is.
Yeah.
Like, and we can help with that, right? We don't need to sit there and say your kid's disordered or not disordered. Like the fact is we can help.
Yeah.
With or without a disorder. And I mean, now getting insurance to pay for it, we got to get creative and everything,
sure.
But, but can we help? Yeah, we can absolutely help.
That's amazing. So something I like to ask all of my guests as we wind down in our conversation is, what little joys do you have throughout your day that really impact you and kind of anchor your day-to-day life?
Yeah. Well, that dad that I mentioned earlier is it's critical for me. Like I get home and I look forward to that little moment because it does kind of refuel my tank a little bit. But spending all day at the clinics, just watching these kids say their first word or seeing the joy in a parent's face when they're like, hey, my kid walked. Like those are things that I don't care how much money you make, they're priceless.
Yeah.
And I've got friends who make a ton of money, but they always tell me, I will never have the impact on our clients the way you do. And so seeing that intrinsic reward on a day-to-day basis reminds us of this is why we do what we do, right? Hearing the story about Jack, I'm like, man, it just fills my heart. Like it gives me more energy to go to the clinic right now, right? Because I'm
Go
like,
tell Olivia.
let's do this, right?
Yeah.
And so like those are the things, right? Like that's why we got into it. Not to
Mhm.
make a ton of money. There's not a lot of money at being a therapist. So you gotta hone in on those little moments where you see the joy in a parent's face, the kid says their first word, they get on stage and tell jokes. Like those are all the payment that we need. And it
Mhm.
fills our heart and it kind of keeps us going. Outside of that, lots of caffeine. That
Got my cold brew over there.
keeps me going.
Yeah.
But yeah, like, my daughter, my wife, I can't do this without her support and, just her management of our house and doing the things that seemingly I don't have time for, right? Like she just kind of holds it down at home. And it's really critical that I have that support to be able to give all these other people energy. And so I've got to be mindful of that. And I'm like, I can't give all of them that energy and not my own family. So, um, but dad is like every day.
Yeah.
I push the code into the door, open it up, and I'm like, where's my dad?
You're like, I'm ready.
Yeah. And then she wants to wrestle like right before bedtime. And I'm like,
You're like, this is the time to wind down.
but I love it.
Yeah.
Right? Like this, I'm like, this is my baby. Let's go. She's like, Daddy, want a pillow fight? And I'm like, yep, let's go.
Yeah. It's time.
And my wife is over there like rolling her eyes.
Yeah.
She's like,
No, I understand.
Put her to sleep now.
It's like, now you're getting her excited. We just had wind down time. Yeah.
But honestly, children do truly bring me the most joy just to see like the things that I wish I could have done for my brother. My brother's only 10 years younger than me, so I didn't really get a chance to work with him. So all the things that he could have done with some good therapy, I see it in our families, and that truly brings me joy. And it keeps me going, and it keeps me wanting to do more. And my wife's like, slow down. But I'm like, there's just so many more kids,
I know.
right? So,
I know. Well, it's amazing. You're a wonderful person. You have created an amazing facility, multiple facilities. And, thank you for impacting our community so close to my own home, my family, but also all my neighbors and friends.
thank you guys for always spreading the word. And we don't do a ton of marketing just because I'm like, when somebody really wants a good recommendation, they're going to ask their people.
Mm-hmm.
And so if their people have heard of us and can give word of mouth, like that's the best form of marketing I could ever ask for. And so obviously that's happening in your community, and it's the word is spreading, and we're getting the kids in there, and they're doing wonderful.
That's awesome. So if somebody wants to reach out to you so that they could sign up to have an evaluation for their child, do they do that on your website?
Yeah, online's probably the easiest way to get some information. If you go to the childrenstherapyspot.com or emilyslp.com,
Mm-hmm.
there's a little form on there that you can fill out to get some information or us to call you back. All of our directors who are therapists themselves will call you.
Mm-hmm.
So that initial intake, you're talking to a therapist, and it's really important that you get some face-to-face time with us ahead of the evaluation, so we can kind of get a good idea of what it is that you're looking for. So having that conversation with the therapist first is like unique for us and something that we're always going to do. Then they'll kind of walk you through the onboarding steps, and usually takes a couple of weeks to get that evaluation. Then you meet your therapist, and then the therapist kind of gives you the impression and tells you what the plan's going to be. But it's pretty simple, straightforward process. Hop online or give us a call, get your information, and then one of the directors will call you back and get more in-depth information about your child.
Amazing. Thank you. So we will put all of those websites into the show notes so that everybody can know how to reach out to you. Marcus, thank you for being here.
Thank you again for having me, Laura. It's been a pleasure.
Yeah. And I'm excited for Design for a Cause November 14th.
Absolutely. Let's do it.
You can get your tickets if you'd like to come at Luma, lu.ma/design for a cause. And we will also put that in the show notes. So you can just click it. Tickets are $50 a head. We'll have entertainment, food, alcohol, games, lots of great silent auction items. And every dollar that you spend goes towards children in need of therapy. So
Thank you.
Thank you. And thanks for spending a little time here with Laura. If you enjoyed today's conversation, I'd love it if you'd subscribe, leave a review, or share the episode with a friend. It helps more than you know. And you can find out more about me, Marcus, and everything we talked about in the show notes. So until next time, take care of yourself and don't forget to make space for what really matters. Thanks.